ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends, to the It's Monday Again edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. If you would like to be part of the program this afternoon, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. 800-848-9222. And, of course, as with any day, lots going on. We begin this week with the 100th day. It's called the 100th Day Week. This is the week where the 100th day of the Donald Trump 47 administration happens. That will come day after tomorrow, I believe, is the 100th day. But already we are seeing action and more action, especially on the immigration front. Cut one, Carlos. Let us start with Caroline Leavitt, Donald Trump's, of course, amazing press secretary, and she speaks about what will be happening during this 100-day week.
Today, we kick off 100-day week with a focus on the president's historic effort to secure our southern border. Later this afternoon, President Trump will sign an executive order on law and order and another executive order on sanctuary cities. The first EO will strengthen and unleash America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. The second EO is centered around protecting American communities from criminal aliens, and it will direct the Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security to publish a list of state and local jurisdictions that obstruct the enforcement of federal immigration laws. After these are signed, the president will have signed more than 140 executive orders already, rapidly approaching the total number signed by the Biden administration over the course of 4 years in office.
Now, what that means, just identifying and publishing the list, isn't everything that takes place. The cities and states who are on that list that Caroline Leavitt referred to could face a cutoff in federal funding, possible criminal and civil lawsuits if they refuse to change their ways, if they still insist on remaining, quote-unquote, sanctuary cities. It's quite simple. Ms. Leavitt said, obey the law, respect the law, don't obstruct federal immigration officials and law enforcement officials when they are simply trying to remove public safety threats from our nation's communities. We will have a little bit more on that a little bit later, but there have been two things that took place over the weekend. The headline in the Daily Mail earlier this afternoon, exclusive, breaking exclusive, migrant seen with Ice Barbie's, Kristi Noem's Gucci bag, and American Express after snatching purse from D.C. restaurant. An illegal immigrant? This is just so ironic, isn't it? An illegal immigrant has been charged with the robbery that took place of the woman that they now call Ice Barbie, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. He immediately, apparently after robbing the bag, used her credit cards for a quote-unquote boozy night in D.C. Mario Bustamante Liva, 49 years old, arrested this week after robbing Nome at the Capitol Burger restaurant downtown D.C., took over $3,000 in cash, her Gucci bag, also took off with her makeup bag, driver's license, passport, medication, apartment keys, DHS access badge, and some blank checks. In new documents obtained by DailyMail.com, it is claimed that Bustamante Liva then immediately went to sit at a nearby bar in the Angiolo Ristorante Italian restaurant, where he stayed till midnight. He spent about $205.87 in the bar, drinking apparently, fell asleep at an outdoor table at the restaurant until 7:30 the next morning. Then he called police officers to say his bag containing a Chilean passport and $1,000 in cash had been stolen from him. This guy has been in the United States illegally for years, believed to be part of a wider robbery organization that terrorizes East Coast. He's Chilean. He was one of London's most prolific robbers, had a career of robbery overseas in the UK. Jailed there for 3 years after stealing over $27,000, close to $28,000 worth of telephones, wallets, and computers in just 5 months. No fixed address, jobless, father of 3. Yet he makes it over here somehow through our borders with all of that and steals the purse of the DHS secretary, an illegal immigrant. Well, he has been caught. And now this one, when I got this next update, I immediately thought of the Countess of Conspiracy, because for a while we wondered whether we would get to the truth of this or whether there was a darker conspiracy at work. It turns out it wasn't a dark conspiracy. We now have the identities of both involved. It was April 9th, my friends, on this very show that we broke the news to many of you of what had taken place on a New York City R train. Then we did not know the man, the person, the victim. We do now. 37 years old, Jorge Gonzalez smoked a cigarette on the train. After lighting up, smoking the cigarette on the train, the R train, Mr. Gonzalez died. That would have been the end of the story, except Jorge Gonzalez, while exiting the body, story did not end. That's because another gentleman who at the time was unknown and up until now has been unknown decided that he wanted Mr. Gonzalez dead or alive. Dead, it didn't matter. Now we know his name. Felix Rojas. Discovering the dead body of Jorge Gonzalez, Mr. Rojas, 44 years old, of Bensonhurst, decided that he would rob Mr. Gonzalez in more than one way. He robbed him of what material possessions he could find, and then Mr. Jorge Gonzalez orally and anally raped the body of the expired Jorge Gonzalez. A short time later, after he had been taken, abused, used in ways that many of us just cannot believe would happen, Mr. Gonzalez was robbed a second time. Someone else came, a woman, and tried to rob him of what was left. And it wasn't much. The case was broken after the son of Felix Rojas recognized his father in security footage. He couldn't believe that his daddy, he could not believe that his daddy would abuse the departed Jorge Gonzalez in such vile ways. But it turned out it was indeed his daddy. Now Felix Rojas has been taken into custody, is charged with rape. Had no previous criminal history. Such a tragic story, but we are thankful to know that this was not part of some broad conspiracy. It was happenstance, as it were. Mr. Rojas of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, is expected to be arraigned today in criminal court after being accused of orally and behind sex with the corpse of 37-year-old Jorge Gonzalez. Coming back, 800-848-9222.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Experience a progressive lens engineered with AI from Essilor, powered by individual measurements of your visual behavior. A lens personalized to you by an Essilor expert. Discover Verilux XR Track and enjoy instantly sharp vision in motion and seamless transitions from near to far. Find your local Essilor expert today at Essilor.com.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I really am. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I had no intentions on paying my student loans back. Like, I really have not. Like, my motto was they going to get it back in blood. But apparently they're trying to get it back in blood. So, yeah, I'm about to just go for broke, pack a bag, take my dog, and get the out of the United States to see what happens. Like, literally, what's the worst that could happen at this point?
Really? Countess a conspiracy, very disappointed in my update. Look, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this wasn't some alien invasion. This was just one of your regular pervert invasions, not an alien invasion. And I do a lot of research, finding stories to keep everybody. She accused me of being sick. Countess a conspiracy. I need serious help. For what? I look at things in the news. I scour the news day and night to find things to report what's going on. She said the story's not worth it. So unappreciative. And she told me, I give you better stories. And I use some of the stories once in a while that the Countess of Conspiracy sends me too, because there are things that, like, you know. Anyway, just keeping you informed. Let us go very quickly to cut number 2, Eugene Daniels. The big White House event, the Correspondents' Dinner, was this weekend. Wouldn't know it. Didn't get that much coverage like it usually does because Trump wasn't there. President wasn't there, because pretty much the White House Correspondents Association is being reduced to a nothing organization. But here's the head of it, Eugene Daniels. And this is during his speech.
We journalists are a lot of things. We are competitive and pushy. We are impatient. And sometimes we think we know everything. But we're also human. We miss our families and significant life moments in service to this job. We care deeply about accuracy and take seriously the heavy responsibility of being stewards of the public's trust. What a joke. What we are not is the opposition. What we are not is the enemy of the people, and what we are not is the enemy of the state.
Yeah, well, you can clap all your hands all you want to, but guess what? In many ways, you have proven to be the enemy of the people because you only cover one side. You're not interested, and I'm speaking of the mainstream legacy media, especially the White House press corps of that ilk from the mainstream press. Negative, negative, negative. TDS all the time. One of the reasons why the American people's faith in the media institutions is so low at the moment is because of the track record of those people that he is lauding as not being the enemy of the people. The people of the United States, at least half of them, do not see it that way. Coming back shortly. Don't go away.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garten and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian-approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences, like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off, plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50. Code listen50. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Cindy Lauper with fellow Cosentix advocate, Chef Michelle Bernstein.
We'll share our experiences with plaque psoriasis, with psoriatic arthritis, and Dr. Panico will talk about the possible connection.
Cosentix secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur.
Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com/Cindy.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Has put up about 100 posters of what they say are unauthorized immigrants who have been arrested for violent crimes. You can see them there. They put them up on the driveway of the White House. If you look here, that's the West Wing just at the forefront, the executive mansion itself to the left. But what's particularly noteworthy about this location is it is right directly behind the positions where TV correspondents do their hits from the White House lawn. So therefore, no matter what network you're on, that includes MSNBC, if you're doing a hit from the White House right now, those pictures will be behind you. The White House doing a briefing in about a half hour about what they're doing here.
Another reason, my friends, to love the Trump administration. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Elections in Canada today, my friends. So far, the pre-election surveys are showing that Prime Minister Mark Carney has a slight advantage over the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, who used to be up 25 points before the tariffs.
Are you sure it's the tariffs and not the way he chews an apple?
It's the tariffs. Plus, there were some other things beside the tariffs. For instance, and this was unreported. Thank you. That's Peter Cetera of Chicago, and then his own brilliant career. This was not reported widely in the United States. You know, one of the things Poilievre has been railing about is immigration, illegal immigration. And you would think that if there was some story concerning immigration, it would be widely reported everywhere. It wasn't. Down here, it was up there. Down here, they only say Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the reason that he's not a leader. Donald Trump, the reason that he lost his head. There was a story, and I wouldn't have known about it except for my Canadian journalist friend, Debbie Pelche, who said to me, have you seen the story on Poilievre? I said, no, what story? The story that despite all this talk about immigration, he and his family bent over backwards to help an illegal immigrant member. It was his wife's family, and they pretty much sheltered an illegal immigrant. The wife. That's the long and short of the story. I'll have to dig out the facts. But that's the way the story at least was perceived. Total hypocrisy on police. It was hard to believe. Now, that story made a lot of waves up north. It got nothing in the media here because the media here is all about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the reason for all ills for the people that have TDS. Now, in fact, let's continue with this dinner that used to be a big deal and now it is becoming highly irrelevant, which is the White House Correspondents Association dinner. This is Alex Thompson, cut 3, who won an award. Listen to this.
President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. But being truth tellers also means telling the truth about ourselves.
Yeah.
We, myself included, missed a lot of this story. And some people trust us less because of it. We bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows.
Yay, yes, let's self-flagellate. Let's self-flagellate for a moment.
I say this because acknowledging errors builds trust.
Right. Okay, so Caroline Levitt at the press conference, the White House presser, was asked about that, cut 4, and this is how she responded.
Alex Thompson said at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I'm going to read his quote, "President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of the party, is capable of deception. We, myself included, missed a lot of this story, and some people trust us less because of it." Can you comment on those remarks and whether you agree with that assessment?
I do agree with that assessment from Alex Thompson, who I understand won an award for writing a story months and perhaps years after the American people already knew that story to be true. Millions of Americans watched our mentally incompetent president struggle with his day-to-day duties of this office. We watched our country be ran into the ground as a result, and nobody in the media wanted to write about that, talk about it. There were many reporters, I will say, right-leaning reporters who did talk about that, who didn't get awards, didn't get coverage. In fact, they were lambasted for their coverage. And I remember being on President Trump's campaign, talking about Joe Biden's clear mental incompetence and being accused by people in this room of manufacturing deep fake videos, trying to persuade the public into not believing what they saw with their own eyes for many years. And I think it's about time the legacy media finally admits that was one of the greatest cover-ups and scandals that ever took place in American history, and certainly it did contribute to the decline in the trust that Americans have for the legacy media. Which, by the way, is why we've made many changes to this briefing room in this White House. It's long overdue.
And it doesn't end there. Let's go to cut 6 very quickly. Marco Rubio was on Meet the Depressed with that woman, Kirsten Walker. And listen just to the way that she frames the story. And I love the way that Marco Rubio swats it down. Check this out.
Okay, let's talk now about some new reporting that came in overnight. I want to just go through it for you and for our audience. 3 U.S. citizen children have been deported with their mothers. Now, this is according to the Washington Post. The family's lawyer says one of them is a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, deported without medication or ability to contact doctors. The family's lawyers are also saying their clients were denied communication with family and legal representatives before being deported, and it's raising concerns about the issue of due process, that it's being violated. So let me ask you, is everyone on U.S. soil, citizens and non-citizens, entitled to due process?
Yes, of course. But let me tell you, it looks in immigration standing, the laws are very specific. If you're in this country unlawfully, you have no right to be here and you must be removed. That's what the law says. Somehow over the last 20 years, we've completely lost this notion that somehow or completely adopted this idea that, yes, we have immigration laws, but once you come into our country illegally, it triggers all kinds of rights that can keep you here indefinitely. That's why we were being flooded at the border. and we've ended that, and that's why you see a historically low number of people not just trying to cross our border, trying to cross the border into Panama, all the way down in the Darien Gap. I mean, it's been a huge help for those countries as well. On the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane. That's misleading. Yeah. That's just not true.
Just to be clear, because I do want to get to the overhaul at the State Department, is it the U.S. policy to deport children, even U.S. citizens, with their families, and I hear what you're saying, without due process? Just to be very clear there.
Well, no. Again, if someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well, then you have 2 choices. You can say, yes, of course you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. And then your headlines would read, U.S. holding hostage 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old while mother deported.
This is the duplicitous way. These people stand up and they cheer themselves on. They self-flatulate. Oh, yeah, we didn't report on Biden, but we're good. We're good. We're not enemies of the people. We're not enemies of... Yes, you are. Your reporting is totally TDS driven, including this story. And she wanted to talk with him about the changes over at the State Department. The State Department's being managed. That's what's happening. And yes, some people are out of work. In fact, we have an out of work State Department employee. We have audio from one of the women. It's cut 12, Carlos, who says she lost her job because of what's going on. The State Department is reorganizing. They're reorganizing under Rubio. And listen to this woman. And just let me ask you a question. Do you think that this is listen, just listen.
So this week I lost my dream job at the U.S. State Department. I worked in the War Crimes Office, but Trump and Rubio decided to eliminate that office, not to mention the entire undersecretariat that deals with human rights and democracy and labor. So I'm out of a job. And the only silver lining there is that I get my voice back because I'm no longer working for this administration, which is hell-bent on bringing us into fascism. So, brand new to TikTok, just wanted to introduce myself and say hi. I have a PhD from Oxford University where I focused on how countries recover from genocide and how victims get justice. That's what I was trying to do as a senior policy advisor in the Office of Global Criminal Justice, which no longer exists at the U.S. State Department. So I'm here and I'm looking for ways to continue the good fight.
So I lost my job at the State Department. I worked in human rights and criminal justice, and I'm glad because now I can really speak because I'm not a member of the administration. And Trump and Marco Rubio took away my job, and they're a bunch of fascists. They're leading the country into fascists, and so they should have kept you on so that you could silently affect, and I am so glad they are cleaning out this liberalism that has infested the State Department for decades. The State Department is supposed to be about America's interests, not some ideological road trip for liberals. I got my PhD from Oxford University, and Donald Trump and Marco Rubio are taking the State Department into fascism. Bye-bye, honey. This happens. I don't celebrate people losing their jobs, and I'm not celebrating this. But clearly, she has an agenda.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, Hey, let's talk about your expense report.
I didn't submit an expense report.
You will. Custom saddles and dog training services are not within policy.
What are you talking about?
SAP Concur uses advanced AI to audit and automatically detect out-of-policy expenses. It's the breakthrough I needed to focus more on our future.
These are my future expenses?
Yes, and self-defense classes are out of policy.
I'll need self-defense classes?
You will.
For what?
It's a big dog.
SAP Concur helps your business move forward faster. Learn more at concur.com.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Yeah, where was he? He was in New Hampshire. What does that tell you? That's Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Don't give Republicans a moment of peace, blah, 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 mass protest, disrupt. His state is miserable. High taxes, horrid track record on education, especially in the blue city of Chicago, crime out of control, and he's talking about disruption. And he never saw fit to protest any of that, but he will protest Republicans. Kamala Harris planning to do a speech in San Francisco this week.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Let's head to the telephones and catch up with Joan in Manhattan. Joan, how are you? Thank you for waiting.
Oh, hi. Excuse me, Bo. I wanted to ask you, what do you know about this meeting that the president had with the heads of big box stores like Walmart and Target about the tariffs? Apparently, they're very unhappy with the tariffs, which tell me they must be losing money. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I don't know the inner workings of the meeting. But yes, big box stores are unhappy because of what is being forecast, especially by the media. I saw one of the stories today that Christmas supplies, Christmas 2025 is going to be miserable because they can't import the stuff they need in from China. And if you know anything about the retail business, all this stuff doesn't happen at the last minute. These things start arriving, they're stored, they're ready, they're shipped in. And so there are concerns, obviously, with higher prices and what it's going to do to the bottom line of retailers. What is missing from this story is what it's going to do for the economies. And so I think we'll all learn a little bit more about that meeting soon. Let's see. Do we have time for a quick one? Oh, goodness. George, you've got Rockland County, 20 seconds. You got to make it count.
Okay, it's very simple, okay? People are not entitled to the job. It's not a job for life. People are supposed to pay.
That's what time we have. Thank you. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. God willing, we are back tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for
If your brain is at full capacity with to-dos, birthdays, and dinner plans, meet Skylight Calendar. It syncs your entire family's schedule onto a sleek digital display, so you focus on important things like where you left your coffee. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/talk. Go to skylightcal.com/talk for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/talk.
New episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?